Hey guys, Derek here to do my first annual MMA awards. Thought I'd do this video. You guys, if you don't mind, after I do this video, you guys do a video. Send me a video invite or just send me a little message of who you would have or if you agree with me or whatnot. First category I want to do is Submission of the Year. And my submission of the year goes to Anderson Silva's submission over Chael Sonnen. The reason for me why this was submission of the year, because I'm watching that fight, you was like, Chael just beat his ass throughout the whole fight, and Anderson was able to slap on that triangle. It was, they're just the novelty of it all, and that was just, to me, classic. Submission of the year, Anderson Silva triangle choke, Chael Sonnen. Next category, knockout of the year. This, to me, guys, something you'll notice when I'm picking my winners in each of one of these categories, I'm going by significance of the fight. And though there was a lot of great knockouts, for instance, Paul Daly, Scott Smith, Robbie Lawler, Matt Lindland just recently, to me, I'm not going to put those fights as knockout of the year category because there was one-sided fights, and it wasn't as, to me it doesn't deserve like the top knockout of the year title. And on that note, for me, the knockout of the year goes to Mauricio Shogun, who is knockout of Lyoto Machida at UFC 113. To me, that was the way that Shogun just came forward, and why I'm giving this knockout of the year is for everything that happened at UFC 104, the first Machida Shogun fight. It was kind of like the build up frustration that Shogun had going into this fight. Like I'm either going to die or I'm going to kill this dude to get the belt. And that, to me, the drama behind the knockout, it was just priceless. And Mauricio Shogun Rua, knockout of the year. Alright, here, fight of the year. This is, you throw all kinds of names around. You throw the Jose Aldo, Uriah Faber, the Leonard Garcia, that Asian guy that he fought. A lot of people are going to say that was fight of the year. To me, you can't say, once again, you can't say a fight like that was fight of the year because it was just two dudes slugging it out. And to me, that's more brawl of the year, not necessarily fight of the year. But once again, going back to my fight of the year category, I'm going to go with the same criteria I've been using for my knockout of the year, submission of the year. And my fight of the year is also going to Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva. Out of all the fights I've seen this year, guys, there was no fight that I was more involved into from start to finish than that fight. And hey, you guys tell me how you felt about this fight as you was watching it, or if there's another fight that somehow grabbed you as you was watching this fight. But the Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva fight, when Chael came out and he rocked him from the get-go, I was watching that fight with my son, and we just looked at each other like, holy shit. The drama that Chael Sonnen brought to that fight after the first round, you knew that Anderson Silva was going to have to pull out something to win this fight, because Chael Sonnen, you could tell. I'm not even put the drug test aside after knowing what we know, but after that first round, guys, it was just, you knew that was going to be a great fight. And even though you could say at times, maybe Chael was just laying on, when Chael gets in somebody's guard or he gets top position, he punishes guys. And Anderson Silva took a beating that night. And when he threw up that triangle, man, I was jumping. I couldn't believe it. Because I was afraid that the myth that, Chael Sonnen kept talking about he was going to end Anderson Silva, but Anderson Silva showed why, in my opinion, he is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. When everything is stacked against you and you pull out a submission like that, or you pull out a victory like that, it shows you that you are a true champion. Alright, guys. Biggest category, fighter of the year. I'm going to knock off a few names, then I'm going to give you the reason why I had the fighter of the year, in my opinion. First off, I'm going to knock off Anderson Silva. He had 2 fights this year. Damian Maia, that performance just right there cost him Fighter of the Year in my books. And of course, he had the good performance against Chael Sonnen. But like I said, Anderson Silva's performance against Davey and I'll knock him off to the side. George St. Pierre, he had 2 title defenses this year. He had Dan Hardy, which I thought should have never got a title shot. And we saw with the Carlos Condit fight that Dan Hardy should have never been put in that position to fight GSP. And also, even though he completely dominated Josh Koscheck, I have a hard time giving George St. Pierre Fighter of the Year because just for the simple fact that to me, he didn't really improve his stock any, in my opinion. But George St. Pierre, second best pound for pound fighter in the world, in my opinion. I will not knock the guy. Great fighter. Probably the name that I've seen most people give Fighter of the Year so far is Jose Aldo, and he is second on my list. But he is not my Fighter of the Year, which I know has got a lot of you going, who the hell's his Fighter of the Year? This is crazy. Getting ready to fight. But Jose Aldo, great year. Domination of Uriah Faber, just dominating everybody in the 145-pound weight class. I can't wait for this next year, guys, to see. I think we're going to see Jose Aldo fight Josh Grisby first. Then I think we're going to see some of those guys that's been in 155 in the UFC are going to drop down to 145 and fight Aldo, and I can't wait. But with that being said, my Fighter of the Year, guys, is Frankie Edgar, and I'm going to tell you why. BJ Penn coming into this year was in everybody's list was in top 5 pound for pound. There wasn't a list, if you go back to the start of January 1st of this year, that BJ Penn wasn't in somebody's top 5 pound for pound fighters in the world. Right? Frankie Edgar, the smaller guy, won a close decision over him. And, it was outdoors in Abu Dhabi, and and a lot of people say he didn't really win the fight. I personally did have the fight 3-2. I thought BJ won the first 3 rounds, Edgar won the last 2, but nonetheless, Frankie pulled it out. And then we get the UFC 118. Frankie is still a 2.5 underdog. No respect. Has beat BJ Penn. And there's just, everybody saying BJ is going to show up. He's motivated. He lost the fight to Frankie. And Frankie totally beat BJ Penn's ass. There was no doubt who the better fighter was after UFC 118. Frankie Edgar won all the rounds. Totally just dominated BJ Penn. And to me, you look at everybody's wins. Jose Aldo, GSP, Anderson Silva. All these guys who have had Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez has had a great year too. You can't forget about Cain. But you look through everybody's list. Frankie Edgar beat BJ Penn, who was in top 5. Name me a fighter this year who has 2 wins over a top 5 pound per pound opponent. 2. There isn't one. Frankie Edgar is that guy. He dominated, even though it was the same guy. Dominated. He won a close decision against BJ the first fight. And the second fight just totally dominated one of the world's pound for pound best fighters in the world. Nobody else in the world, no other MMA fighter this past year, 2010, can say that they dominated a top 5 pound for pound fighter in the world. And at the time, BJ Penn was. So guys, let me know what you think. Send me video invites if you guys want to do a video on your MMA awards for the year. Or send me a comment and let me know what you guys think. But my Fighter of the Year, Frankie Edgar. Thanks, guys.